Hello, lovelies, and welcome back to Listen Closely with your hosts, Bobby and
John. I'm not actually a host. I'm just a producer.
you're like a co-host.
Oh, okay. Well, that
I
works.
mean, I don't do it without you.
Oh, just like marriage.
This episode, we're going to be talking about something a little different than any other episode that I've ever had because if you looked on my Facebook and Instagram, I posted a word, and that word is basically what we're talking about.
Okay.
And it is pareidolia.
Pareidolia.
Yeah, did you see the post?
I did.
Okay, did you see the definition? Like, did you read it?
Yeah, so basically what I got from it is seeing spiritual effigies in objects.
Yes, so it's the tendency to perceive a specific, often meaningful image in a random or ambiguous visual pattern. So, because our brains, they're cool
Right.
in the fact that we can see things and our brain creates these images.
Okay.
So, when we see like the socket, all of us see the face. Like, we all see the face in the sockets.
Right.
And there are actually some pretty famous ones around the world. We have, obviously, the Shroud of Turin.
Correct.
We have the face on Mars. That was a really big one.
Right. There was also a face on the moon.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it might have been a movie, so don't quote me on this, but I remember something about the face of Jesus on a tortilla.
Yes, and there is
I know there's one a toast.
Well, no, that was the Mother Mary
Right.
on a piece of toast. But yeah, people have seen Jesus on all kinds of bread type stuff.
Body of Christ,
Yeah,
bread.
and that's what some people relate it to, but it's
I don't know. And the other word that I want to mention real quickly is apophenia.
apophenia. See, I
Right.
don't know the definition of this one.
So it's the tendency to perceive a connection or meaningful pattern between unrelated or random things, such as objects or ideas. So basically, like the bread.
Okay.
Jesus was appearing on bread, or, we were seeing religious things on bread because, like he broke the bread,
Right.
Body of Christ. Basically, they're trying to make that connection.
Right.
So that's kind of where we go into our story. We're going to Port Neches, Texas for this one.
Really? That close?
That close.
Huh.
And we are traveling back to the beautiful year of 1969.
Okay.
To preface this is no longer there. You can't go look at this object anymore, and you just can't find it. So, want to make that quick little note that it's not there anymore.
This is crazy because I'm gonna be honest. Normally I kind of know what she's talking about, but I don't really. I have absolutely no clue what you're talking about today.
I know, I'm keeping you suspense.
Yeah.
All right. So in 1969, which is about 52 years ago,
Okay.
at the house at the 800 block of Avenue C in Port Neches, we're going to simply call her Mrs. Bass. But at about 4 p.m. on Thursday, June 12th, 1969, some accounts say she was brushing her hair, other accounts say she was out in the garden. Not sure which one's true because, I just don't know. It was that long ago.
Right.
But she was doing something. She happened to look up at her screen door, which obviously everybody had those back in the day. And what she saw shocked her.
Oh.
She looked up and saw the face of Jesus Christ.
I think I have heard about this.
She said she screamed for her husband and he could not hear her. So she ran to the neighbor and told her hey, come here, look, I want you to see this, I want you to check it out. And when the neighbor saw it, she screamed, that's Jesus. That's him.
So multiple people saw it.
Yes.
Okay.
So, word got around. Neighbors started telling neighbors, who told friends, and who told the rumor spread that Jesus was on this screen door.
Okay.
And about 5 days later, the Enterprise, which is the Beaumont Enterprise, the Beaumont newspaper,
Right.
they did a story on it. It was hitting big. It's reported that about 1,000 people came and visited the Port Neches home to see the door. At some points, there was an average about 3,500 people.
Wow.
Because of this, the lawn of the Basses, as well as I'm imagining their neighbors, were trampled. There was trash everywhere because people wanted to see what the fuss was about, if, what they heard was true.
Did they get any pictures?
So there is a picture from the Beaumont Enterprise that stated June 17th 1969, I believe.
Okay.
So it was 5 days later. And I will definitely post that on my social medias. So you should probably check it out. Some people said that, yes, they clearly saw Jesus. Like, it's how could you not see it? While another lady had said, well, I just don't see it. Maybe I'm not religious enough. And I saw one comment on a site somewhere that the person stated they saw different faces, like it changed. 1 minute it's Jesus, the next minute it's another face. Don't know how true it is. That's just something I happened to see along with my research. But this actually became like a hot spot. Like, everybody had to come see it. From this area, it is said that people came from all around the country to look at this and get a glimpse of this Jesus Christ screen door. Some visitors were convinced that it was Christ, and he chose that screen door to announce his second coming.
Oh, really?
That's what some people said. And in fact, about 10 yards away from the screen door was a fig tree.
Ah.
And supposedly, according to visitors and a pastor, the Jesus on the door was actually looking towards the fig tree. And that was announcing his second coming.
Right.
Churches from the area took their advantage. And there were soon advertisements for churches in the papers. Some pastors were speaking on it, saying the signs of Jesus is coming. The screen door picture, fact or fiction. Others said, image on the door, is it the Bible? Like, why did it appear here? When will it go away? What God told me. There's actually a pastor who had a pilgrimage to the actual door. So, like, people were taking their congregations to the door and, leading sermons on this door. So, it was a big thing. Police actually had some issues with it. Not about the door, but about there were so many people trying to see the door that it was actually blocking the roads. And obviously, due to, the fire roads, they have to keep those clear.
Right.
So that in case of emergencies, fire trucks and emergency vehicles can pass through. And unfortunately, because this road was such a huge, like, everybody had to come see this door.
Yeah.
It was starting to create some problems. So they weren't giving out citations or anything at first because, and I don't know if they ever did start. They're just trying to, they had security on deck. Like, they wanted to make sure that everything was okay and that they try to keep those roads clear as possible just in case.
Yeah.
The big thing on your mind probably is what happened to the door because I said it was no longer there.
Right.
We don't know.
Nobody knows where this door went.
Some say that it got donated to a museum in Washington, according to sources.
Okay.
It's just what I found on the internet.
Right.
Others say that it was stolen, and some say that the Bass family took it off the hinges and put it away for safekeeping.
Okay.
The house has since been remodeled, so the original door frame that the door was in is no longer in existence.
Right.
In 2003, I believe, the new owners of the house around that time, they had heard the stories, and I mean, they have the room that's closest to where the original door was, which is now a bathroom.
Right.
But they basically, the neighbors said, hey, by the way, your house is blessed.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
And so they know the story. They think it's kind of fascinating. But, I mean, there's no, like, they don't have the door there.
How do you even walk up? That, I guess my next thought in my head would be, how do you even walk up to a family who buys a house and say, by the way, there were thousands of people on your lawn at one time back in the 60s?
I mean, it's something cool. I wish somebody would come and tell us that.
I mean, it's kind of cool. Like,
Like, hey, by the way, if you're new to the area, did you ever hear, like, your house is cool? Like, something happened here?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, because this is 1969, I'm sure the older generation knows about this story. But I didn't learn about it until, again, stumbling through some old newspapers.
Yeah.
That I found out about it. And I thought that was kind of cool. Because I remember, like, the Unsolved Mysteries, those old episodes where, like, people see, like, the toast and other things. Like, I remember hearing about it, but I didn't know that there was one that was so close.
Yeah. I mean, so it's
different than any other episode I've ever done.
Yeah. And I know that you do some of these things, and I believe this now to get a rise out of me. But this stuff, I'm not saying, because, we're not going to get into the spiritual stuff on this, but I'm not saying that Jesus doesn't reveal himself in certain things.
Right.
I just don't think it's on screen doors and toast. That's all I'm saying.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
People see signs everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I'm going to say. And I'm not just saying that in a religious aspect, because
Right.
look at aliens.
Right.
We see signs everywhere.
Absolutely.
If you want to believe and see them, you will see them.
Yeah.
Same thing as ghosts.
Because I looked at the picture, and if you
I mean, you could see a figure.
I can't.
You can't?
I don't see anything.
See, and I do see a figure. It looks like, so, and, you know, a lot of these stories do say it's just like the Jesus paintings where, like, you see, like, his chest up, looking off in the distance. Like, I saw that, but I can't say it was him. I did see a figure, like, around the chest, shoulders up, looking, like, you know, off to the side.
Now, in saying that, okay, there is, I'm going to look it up, but there is a picture, okay, and I've actually told you this before, and it's a picture of Jesus, and it's called the Head of Christ. And
Yes.
you know, we used to have it hung up in my mother and father's house.
Yes.
If you look at that picture, and not everybody sees it, but if you look at that picture on his forehead, the way the artist portrayed it, it looks like there is a outline of a cup and a wafer that would represent, you know, the Passover meal.
Right.
On his forehead. Not everybody sees it. We grew up seeing it. To me, every time I see that picture, it's still there. But that's kind of what we're talking about. We see things that we want to see.
Right.
And I think that's what it is. But as far as this screen door thing, I mean, I'm going to continue to look at it, but
So, are you ready for the crazier part of this?
Yes.
They made a movie.
Did they?
And it is called Screen Door Jesus
Really?
in 2003. Obviously wasn't a blockbuster hit, but there actually is a movie, and I actually watched the trailer of this movie. The town that it is in is called, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's called Bethlehem.
Huh.
And they do say it is a small town in East Texas, but it basically has nothing really much to do with, I mean, it does. There is a figure in the screen door, and you can say it's Jesus, and, you know, people came from far and to come see it and worship, and, you know, some other stuff in the movie happens. I mean, that's what I got from the trailer. I'll post the trailer or the link to get to the trailer on my social medias.
Okay. So after I've looked at various shots of this screen door. Mm-hmm. After looking at this one, I can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I can understand why people thought what they thought.
Right. And if you grew up like you grew up seeing that picture, like that
Correct.
painting.
The European-esque Jesus picture that everybody sees.
So if you grew up seeing that picture and then you just see this kind of blob-looking thing on a screen door, your mind's going to try to picture it to the closest thing possible.
Right.
Which is that picture.
Absolutely.
And then if you say, hey, come look at the screen door, what does it remind you of? Mrs. Bass was a religious lady.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not far-fetched to be like, yeah, I see it. And then go get her friend who's probably also religious to also see it. And like I said, there was one lady who said, well, I just don't see it. I must not be religious enough.
So how did it get out? Because, okay, so Miss Bass saw it first.
Yes.
Okay, then she got her neighbor to come look at it.
Yes.
Which saw it too.
Yes.
So I'm guessing maybe her neighbor told other people, or they told other people?
Yeah, basically it was kind of like, you know,
hey, come check
the
this out.
telephone game that we all play as kids.
Yeah.
Like, I see it, and I'm going to tell you, like, hey, there's something cool. My neighbor has this. And then they tell their person, then they tell the next person. Because they didn't have the internet or anything back then. So they just had to, you know, go by word of mouth. And it spread like wildfire. And then once the newspaper started to pick it up, I mean, it wasn't just the Beaumont Enterprise. It was the Port Neches newspaper. It was the Beaumont Enterprise newspaper.
Right.
Like, papers started to cover this.
The Houston Chronicle.
I'm sure they did too.
That's actually the picture that I saw it in.
There you go.
When I first actually saw it and said, "Oh, I can see why they say it." It was a picture in the Houston Chronicle that had been posted.
It got around, and then the more that it got around, the more people wanted to see it for themselves.
Right.
According to one thing I saw, that they did try to take the door off the hinges, and then they kind of moved it around the yard because they thought maybe it was just a fluke, and that's how the sun was hitting it. Just happened to be a good position.
Right.
So I did read that they did take it off the hinges and kind of move it around, but no matter where they put it, you could still see the image. Again, according to one article I read, they said that they had people far and wide coming in to say, okay, well, what is it? Like, why did this image just come on out of nowhere, basically? And they could not really say.
So, funny story about that. I actually was sitting here and I was like, man, I've heard this from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So on one of our sister shows, they actually are going to a brewery in Port Neches. Mm-hmm. And they have a drink called, guess what? Screen Door Jesus. And they did that paying homage to the actual screen door that was in Port Neches. So that's kind of, obviously there are still people today that talk about it.
It's probably more of a Port Neches thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in that
just
town.
Like, Goatman here in Silsbee.
Right.
We all knew about it. Or, most people in Silsbee other than me knew about it. But like, I'm pretty sure Beaumont people.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Lumberton have no idea what we're talking about.
But I'm going to have to watch this movie.
Yes, because it's rated R. And it's yes.
Really?
It is rated R, and it is a comedy, drama, fantasy. That's what they have it listed as.
Wow.
The description of the movie, though, is an eclectic cast of characters intertwines and collides around themes of faith, religion, and race in a small East Texas town. Screen Door Jesus tells the story of the church-going, but not exactly God-fearing town folks who wake up one morning to discover the image of Jesus on Old Mother Harper's screen door, with media and crowds gathering around the phenomenon, and Jesus staring everyone straight in the face. It's time for people to take sides. So
sounds good.
It has a 5.3 out of 10 stars on Internet Movie Database.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where that exactly falls on the Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm about to look at it. The Tomatoer gave it 82%.
So it is not rotten.
The audience score was 28% though.
Ooh.
So it was 82% out of 11 reviews. Only 11 reviews. So who knows?
I don't know. So I mean, if you watch it, you let us know.
Yeah, we're gonna have to check it out.
Or if you've seen an image on something, let us know. We'll cover it. It could be toast. It could be... don't tell me about the light socket, because trust me, I know. I stare at him.
Everybody knows the light socket.
This is definitely one that's different. If you've never listened to any of my episodes, first off, you're doing your life wrong. You should.
Yes.
But if you've listened to them, I've done true crimes. I've done aliens. I've done ghosts. But I've never done one like this. And I really don't know what to classify this one as.
Obviously, we do ghosts and stuff like that, but we do it in the literal sense. We don't get into the spiritual side of it, like are ghosts real, stuff like that. This is just it's one of those things. Like it's not necessarily ghost. It's just a fascinating story. It's something that like thousands of people came to look at a screen door because it had a image that everybody thought looked like Jesus. How many times in your life will you ever hear that?
The best way I can describe what this is just flat out the unexplainable.
Yeah. I really want to go to some of my kinfolk now and ask them, hey, did y'all go to Port Neches in 69? And
definitely. Ask if you're from this area, your family's from this area, ask them.
Yeah.
See what they know. Maybe they remember something about it, because it's really kind of cool that such a huge thing happened in our backyards.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have never guessed it.
Screen Door Jesus.
Screen Door Jesus was real, and there was something on it.
Yeah.
Was it Jesus? I can't tell you. I do see a figure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just something that they needed in their life at that time.
Exactly.
We all see things when we need to see them. And I will say that. I definitely believe we see things when we need to see them.
Everybody needs a little hope.
Exactly. Whether it is Jesus on a screen door, or a piece of toast, or it's a big footprint out in the woods. I'm not going to those woods.
That doesn't give me hope. That scares the crap out of me.
No, but it is a sign. Maybe you just really need to see a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Unexplained Screen Door Jesus. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you've seen it or if you've seen anything like it. And always remember to listen closely.